I've had my fair share of marathons, especially when I was in college, and I hope the statute of limitations apply because I did this many years ago, where with one ticket you would just hop from one theater to the other, catching as many films as you can with one ticket. I know this might seem like an anomaly to many, but you have to realize that I am a boomer and multiplexes were a new concept in India when I was growing up. And the fact that you can just have a field day in the establishment is a core memory for me. The pandemic had me binging on content like it was no one's business. And while it's been laser focused lately with weekend releases, I had my work cut out for me this weekend with the Onam releases and the Telugu comedy Mathu Vadalara. So I thought of telling you what I have watched this weekend. I know one of the major things people are experiencing when deciding what to watch is this overwhelming feeling of just there being too many options. So I'm just here just to navigate for you and help you out a bit of what you can watch this weekend. Trust me, it's a variety of content that is spread across genres, so there is something for everyone. Getting to the point now, here is Tried&Refused Productions with 3 amazing Indian movies I saw this weekend. Mathu Vadalara 2. This is a Telugu movie that I actually caught during the pandemic and got absolutely obsessed with. One of my biggest gripes with Telugu cinema, and I keep on hoping stars align with, is to collaborate with new voices behind the camera. We see too many stars associating with artists they have been working with for decades, offering the same template of mass commercial movies that even the audience is getting tired of. With actors like Nani leading by example with debut directors and spectacular and talented new voices like Tarun Bhaskar and Ritesh Rana creating waves, Mathu Vadalara is a prime example of young, cool and genuinely engaging filmmaking vocabulary I think Telugu cinema hugely benefits from. Being a fan of the editing pattern and filmmaking style of the first film, I was genuinely curious about how they can make the franchise wilder with their second installment. The delivery boys, Babu and Yesu, are now special agents and find themselves embroiled in a case that is far more complicated than they anticipated. The journey to understand the source and reason for why they are being framed for murder forms the basic premise of this mad and funny film. The editing pattern and creative choices Ritesh Rana makes are absolutely wild. The film in its tonality is self-aware and intentionally over the top, spearheaded with probably one of the funniest performances I've seen this year by an actor. Satya, playing the role of Yesu, is an absolute riot in this film, even elevating the mediocre writing in some cases. You will definitely feel like in portions of the film, much like the eye movement stills in the last video, that you are tripping. Beautifully, the director channelizes the psychological state of the characters through his cinematographer Suresh Sarangam, making you feel like you're in a TV soap opera in instances with the wide shots and dramatic zoom-ins, absolutely on point in terms of the pitch of the film. There is an ongoing theme of characters watching a TV serial in this film as the case gets murkier, and I have to tell you that I haven't been witness to such a hilarious cinematic twist in ages. You really have to see it to believe it. As I previously said, Satya has this knack of making something so generic funny in this film. He extracts hilarious moments out of something so mundane. It can be a terrible green tea being served to him, or just the messed up English motivational quotes that he delivers for any situation. His homage to the Venki meme entering the room absolutely made the crowd go wild. When I was seeing the duo Babu and Yesu together, I could not help but be reminded of Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell from the 2010 film, The Other Guys. Will absolutely ate every scene up, similar to Satya, just not giving a chance to poor Sima Koduri, who tries his best to match his energy. The film acts as a hilarious commentary on not only films but star culture, in an absolutely wild sequence which is representative of movie audio launches where Vanilla Kishore's character is introduced. The blind and rabid nature of fans willing to do anything for their stars while they become mere slaves to selfies has to be one of the most inventive sequences that acts as a direct hit to the toxic and concerning atmosphere in such events. I definitely was not a fan of the themes the film eventually explored regarding its big revelation. It dealt with a very sensitive, nuanced and disturbing element of life and treated it with a comedic lens. While things were entertaining, frothy and fun initially, they take an unnecessary, disturbing turn with Vanilla Kishore's character that left a sour taste in my mouth. The film eventually integrates far too many twists for its own good, so what was once entertaining and shocking eventually gets tiring because the twists just don't seem to end at one point of time. I would still say, however, that the movie is an absolutely fun time at the cinema, especially because Satya literally carries the film with his comic timing through several sequences. If Hindi cinema has Johnny Lever, Tamil cinema has Vadivelu and Telugu cinema has Brahmi, I think the baton can be passed to Satya to really lead the charge for the future. ARM. For those who have been watching the channel since before the pandemic, you would know how much I admire Tovino Thomas and the bittersweet feeling I have regarding the lack of love he receives for the amount he dedicates to the craft. I still feel like if fate worked differently and Minnal Murali had a theatrical release, it had all the potential to establish Tovino as a pan-Indian star. With the ambitious film ARM, Tovino collaborates with Jitin Lal, a director with his first feature film taking up such a daunting task is truly praiseworthy. When you will see the frames of ARM, the beautiful cinematography that is executed by Jamon T. John that presents presumably the 1800s all the way up to the 90s, you would be absolutely shell-shocked that this film has been made on a budget of 30 crores. It's just representative of if the investment is actually in the film and several of the elements that you can see, the spectacular results you can get. The film takes the shape of a folk tale, literally told by a grandmother. All three characters played by Tovino, the film shifts its focus from being a historical epic, a cat and mouse chase, and eventually a fascinating treasure hunt that can easily be its own adventure book series if the creators wanted it. The film sheds light on the existence of a magical lamp that is revered in a village and handed over to a soldier, Kunjikelu, played by Tovino by his king. As the reality unravels about this legend, in the current timeline, Ajayan, again Tovino, a mere electrician, is burdened by the reputation of his ancestors, specifically Maniyan, again Tovino, his grandfather Kunjikelu's son, an unpredictable and savage thief who caused havoc in the village. I want to get one thing out of the way, I'm just not a fan of the 3D format of this film. Other than some glowing lights and ammunition being flung my way, I would have preferred the film in its 2D format. What, however, I got totally invested in is the world created by Jitin Lal and the conviction brought by Tovino to all three characters. I empathize with the sentiment of the mixed feelings audiences are left with when watching ARM. I'll tell you exactly why this happens. It's because there are some beautiful ideas in the film of prophecies, of legends, of superstitions, of magical elements beyond the understanding of common folk, but what the film lacks is deep characterization and themes that are only shed light on at a very surface level. While as an audience you would have liked more of a deep dive on the magical qualities of the lamp, of blind devotion, of the misunderstood nature of a character like Maniyan, we start to focus on themes such as caste segregation, a random scene on fundamental rights, and romantic subplots that don't generate as much interest within you as a viewer. I honestly have to say this though, Tovino has all the markings of a star. When you see him physically engage in the action sequences, I am in awe of his stature, his nimbleness, his flexibility, and this is just a physical trait. He absolutely psychologically surrenders to the roles. The noble warrior, the savage thief, the timid electrician. It's sad because very few notice the same, and this is his 50th film, and the actor is still consistently sincere to the craft and going above and beyond what is required. I loved Basil Joseph in the film too, an actor who brings an instant smile to my face whenever he appears on screen, being a loyal but scared friend to Ajayan every step of the way. I loved the sequences when the film essentially turned into a treasure hunt console game with intricate traps and codes one has to crack. These ideas are beautiful to see, and I hope it does get appreciation for what it tries to pull off because the ideas are praiseworthy. I have an unpopular opinion though, but what ARM gets right regarding the tonality, pitch and focus of the folktale genre is something Malai Kotai Valiban just could not figure out. I think ARM does a far more convincing job regarding the same. Kishkindha Kaandam. This was the biggest surprise for me this weekend because I literally stepped into the theatre with no expectations and no idea what the film will be based on. I stepped in for a slow burn thriller starring Asif Ali, Vijay Raghavan and Aparna Balamurli. The film sheds light on a newly married couple and the slow unraveling of the past and eccentricities of the characters in the household. Asif, playing the role of Ajay Chandran, is more or less a caretaker for his father, but what transpired a few years ago has their lives altered forever. What does the wife Aparna notice on a day-to-day basis that disturbs her? What is it about this family that is more than what they pretend to showcase to the public? I sat through the film just curious. The screenplay is designed as a slow burn thriller providing you just enough information to get you more intrigued. You start anticipating the worst outcomes, and that's the sign of an exceptionally written thriller. that when the film is progressing, you are creating your own hypotheticals of what it may confess. I can't really dwell on the movie in great length because several details about it are key revelations to the plot, but I have to tell you from a performance point of view, the three principal characters ace their roles. Aparna acts as the objective viewpoint in a family dynamic that is far too much history and this simmering animosity and distance that is tough to comprehend. The film taps into this odd characteristic of human nature in family dynamics where those who are closest to us, we often are the most distant with them regarding tough conversations. It's like convincing your parents to go to the hospital for a normal checkup. You know, the moment you bring it up, tensions will flare and an argument is inevitable. It's this unresolved energy in the film that stays consistent, and this allows for a viewer to ask questions, engaging you till the very end of what may have transpired within this family. Vijay Raghavan is exceptional, connecting the dots in a meticulous fashion even though he feels like he is lagging behind. A proud ex-army man, I could see my own father in the way he never wants to be vulnerable or feel like a burden to those around him. ASIF, another extremely underrated actor in my opinion from Malayalam cinema, who just deserves so much love for what he has done in this film, emotionally surrendering completely and shining in the latter half of the film as the mirage breaks for Aparna. You might think as the screenplay progresses that there is so much information flung towards you. Is this really going anywhere? But trust me, the film comes together so well with its watertight screenplay that you will leave this film with a punch in your gut. This unsettling feeling of what the characters held from you, truly becoming one of the best surprises of 2024 for me. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about these three movies that came out this weekend. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.